Mostly the program, though, and the commercial acumen program that we talk about is really about perspectives. And this is a great saying, because one of the things I learned when I was a mediator was that if I understand your perspective, my perspective changes forever. And this isn't about agreement or changing the way you do things or even giving up and moving to the dark side. It is about understanding how they operate and industry operates for two reasons. One is you can use the way they do things to your own advantage inside your business. It's not everything inside the commercial business should apply to the public sector, but some of it should. Some of it's very useful because that's why they run businesses and they get better outcomes and they do things faster. So understanding how they think about things for your own benefit to do it internally. And the other is if you understand how they act and the choices they make and where they go, you can engage with industry to get the better outcomes you want from industry. And we'll talk a little bit about that in this session today. So this is mostly about perspectives. I think there's just three things you need to know, and this is a constant thing. The first is, how do I create value? And you create value by the way you engage, the way you design your programs, the way you design with the way industry works, and about using the things that industry does to your better advantage. So this is about creating value, and this is really day one of the program. The second day is about claiming the value, and we'll talk about negotiation and persuasion and influence and how to build the contracts and so on. And so once you've created the value, you've got to get it. By the way, people talk about negotiations, they talk about win-win. I'm not a big fan of win-win because it suggests that we all should win equally. We don't have to win equally. We've got to get the value that we want, and we talk about how to do that. And the third leg on this stool, and the third day, is really about keeping the value. So if you've created and you've claimed it, and you've got this, how do I manage it and keep it? So throughout service delivery. And notice I start to talk about service delivery rather than around contract management or contract administration, because I think it's the superset of contract management. And we explore that in quite a bit of detail throughout the program. Here's a pinch of commercial acumen that I got when I was a young guy. You need two people to run a business, an accountant and a lawyer, but never let either of them run your business. The senior CEO said that to me when I was a young chap just out of the army in the commercial world. And he wasn't saying that accountants and lawyers are incapable of running businesses. They are clearly able to do that as long as they don't behave like accountants and lawyers. Accountants count the money. In the public sector, they tell you how much you're spending and how to reduce your spend and how not to waste money and how not to do those things. None of which, by the way, are actually about your outcome, which is to spend money to deliver a social outcome. So they're actually not there not to be heard, but they're also not actually driving a better business outcome for you, which is your outcomes. And a lawyer's sitting there telling you, don't make any commitments, put all the responsibility on the company, drive all of the risks over to them, don't commit to anything. And by the way, if it goes wrong, here's how we're going to deal with it, because here's all of the things that are in the contract that we need to put in place to make things go wrong. Not one of those things is about making a contract go right. And yet what you want is things to go right. So we pull that up. I don't pick on accountants and lawyers, but if you're owning the business inside the public sector, if you're owning the outcome, then you've got to own the outcome. And so many of the things that are said to us and so many of the constraints around procurement and engagement and contract design and engagement with industry is run by accountants and lawyers because we don't know how to be powerful enough to have a different conversation with them, like how does that add value to the outcome? So that's how we do this business.